You want to talk about car insurance? This is the most complicated thing I've ever dealt with in my life. I ran an insurance company for doctors when I was at DMC. I thought I knew everything about this. Our corporation counsel, Butch Hollowell, was Jennifer Granholm's insurance advocate and was the lawyer on car insurance for the NAACP. We have worked at this every single day for the last year. And what I'm going to show you is what I think is our only chance to get something through the legislature. And this is something I believe deeply. I'm going to tell you the truth. And if you like it, okay, and if you don't, okay. I am so sick and tired of state legislators running their mouth about we're going to lower your car insurance when they know darn well that the Republican House and the Republican Senate and the Republican governor are never going to go along with it. All right? So, I had to come up with something that we think we can. And interestingly, the one person who's had the courage to say, I'm not telling people what they want to hear. I'm going to come up with a plan that comes through is Virgil Smith. He's done that all along. And so he is going to introduce, he was already well down this road, he already had a bill in, he's going to introduce our de-insurance bill, which is very close to what he was doing. And we're going to go work. I started at 8:30 this morning with the Republican Speaker of the House, trying to pitch it. I have the governor, I think, largely on board on it. And we're working the Senate right now. But it's not going to be easy because there's lots of complicated car insurance. So I'm going to show you a lot of detailed, complicated stuff. People tell me I shouldn't do this. If I'm boring you, raise your hand and tell me to stop. But I'm going to try to explain car insurance. Because I do understand. Today, the average Detroiter in Detroit, you're somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 a car. If you're over $5,000, it's probably something in your driving history. But it is ridiculous what we are spending. The average Detroiter is at $3,400 for a car.
Yeah.
The average suburbanite for that same car is spending $1,700. It's ridiculous. So my wife Lori is here somewhere. Lori, stand up. So she comes out. You have to be nice to me today. She's here. So when we moved from Livonia to Detroit 3 years ago, our car insurance went from $3,000 to $6,000 in one day. And I came home and Lori was on the phone yelling at AAA. So we only moved 10 miles. How could the car insurance go up? She says, only 3 miles from work now. Doesn't he get a low mileage discount? And I said, oh yeah, we gave you the low mileage discount. It was $40. Lori says, you got to do something about the car insurance. I hear about it every night. So we've been on it. We understand. Here's the other thing. Over 50% of the drivers, and the police officers tell me this, when they pull them over, are driving without insurance. That means we made them into lawbreakers.
Yeah.
And even worse, it means they don't have any health care coverage. The 50% of our drivers who are driving right now, because they can't afford it, they're being left vulnerable. This is not an acceptable situation. So, I'm going to explain to you what's involved in car insurance. In your premium right now, on average, 6% of your premium is what's called bodily coverage. It's if somebody in the car, a passenger, gets hurt. It covers basically the passengers. For your car, in case it's stolen, about 18% of your premium is car theft. People think car theft is the reason for Detroit's high auto insurance rates. It's only a few percent. It is not the problem with our rates. I didn't know that a year ago, but I know it now. Collision, when your car is in an accident, you have to get it repaired, is 31% of your premium on average. And PIP, we're going to talk a lot about PIP tonight. Personal injury protection, your medical coverage, is on average 44% of your bill. The PIP coverage, the medical coverage, is far and away the biggest part of what is driving your car insurance rates. Now, some of you may have only bought the medical coverage, because by law you don't have to buy the collision and the comprehensive. How many people here have just the medical coverage? Okay, so those of you who have the medical coverage, and it's about a third of the city, 88% of your premium is the PIP. 88% of what you're paying, 12% is your passenger coverage. And I'm going to show you what's driving that PIP cost so high. and it's not what you think. So how does PIP work? Most people already have health care coverage. Okay, you have it in your life. So you might be with your employer, it might be Medicare, it might be Obamacare, it might be Medicaid, it might be from the VA. Most people have health care, particularly since the president passed Obamacare. Most people in this town have health care today. So here's how it works. If you today fall off a ladder and are seriously injured, God forbid, you're paralyzed, you have a serious head injury, you go to the emergency room, your health care covers you. Whether it's Medicare or Blue Cross or Medicaid, your health care covers you. If you have a stroke and you need serious rehab, your health care covers you. But if you get in a car accident, if there were no fault law, your health care would cover you. Your Blue Cross or your Medicare or your Medicaid would cover you in a car accident today, just like it covers you if you fall off a ladder. And so when you buy PIP, if you've already got health care coverage, you're paying a second time. Your auto insurance premium is buying medical coverage when you already had it. Okay? Now maybe that's a good thing, but that's what you're doing. So, for a doctor, I come out of this business. If you're a doctor or you're a hospital, okay, one person comes in and falls off the ladder and has Blue Cross. Another person, a brick fell on them, they've got Medicare. Another person got in a car accident. You give them all the same care. You think you're paid the same? I'll show you what happens. If you're on Medicare, you get about 80% of Blue Cross. That's what you get for any treatment you give somebody who comes in on Medicare. If you're on Blue Cross, you get paid about 20% more. If they look a little bit more enthused to see the Blue Cross people, it's probably true. Okay? That's the reality. I was in the healthcare business. If you come in with auto insurance off those premiums, you get paid 300%. You get paid triple for the same surgery, for the same MRI, for the same hour of rehab. As a doctor or a hospital or a clinic, you get paid triple.
That should be illegal.
Crazy, huh? That's how it works. I was in the hospital business. I liked it when we got the car insurance cases, but I understand this. So, why are Detroiters' rates higher? I know everybody thinks there's this conspiracy, but when you look at the data, the NAACP sued the insurers saying they were discriminated. They lost the lawsuit. And I'm going to show you why. The data will show you what's happening. Collision claims. So if you have an accident, 9 Detroiters out of 1,000 get in a car accident a year, have a collision claim. And suburbs are the same. 9 suburbanites out of 1,000 get in an auto accident in a year. Okay? Exactly the same amount. Detroiters get in exactly as many accidents as suburbanites. But what about our PIP claims? We got injured in the accident. Well, suburbanites are actually injured about 5 out of 1,000. Detroiters go in for an injury 12 out of 1,000. We have the same number of accidents. We got hurt twice as much. Really? Okay, or is something else going on? Right? We know what's going on. So, all right, for some reason, we're showing up with medical problems twice as often as suburbanites. What about when we start to go see the doctor? How much does it cost? So, on the collision side, there's the cost of suburbanites, and there's the cost of Detroiters. Detroiters accidents, a little bit worse, but not really much. Almost the same as far as the cost of our car repairs. But when we go in for our medical coverage, the average suburbanite has $30,000 in medical claims. The average Detroiter has $60,000 in medical claims. Now, how does this make any sense? Exactly the same number of accidents. We are injured twice as often, and we need twice as much medical care. What's going on out there? I'll tell you what's going on out there. There's a lot of people who know they're getting paid triple when the car insurance folks come through the office of the clinic or the MRI. And they're working the heck out of it. Every place you look, there's a sign, been in a car accident, right? Are you in pain? I mean, they just inundate Detroiters, right? And when they do that, here's what happens to you. Because they set your insurance rates based on the claims in the city, every time somebody in the city goes in for more medical insurance than they need at triple the rate, everybody in the city pays more money. That's what's going on, okay? And it is not right. So, how is it that we have the same number of accidents, twice as many claims, each claim is twice as expensive? And the law of this state says, if you want to drive, you have to buy unlimited coverage for all these medical claims. Otherwise, you can't drive. It doesn't give you a choice. Okay? You can't opt out. So, here's what I want to do. D-insurance. Joanne Watson was the author of a charter provision. Got to see her yesterday. I'm pretty enthused about what we're doing. It says the city of Detroit can establish an insurance system to provide automobile insurance for city residents. City Council last year approved a study on this. And so we are going to go to the legislature with Senator Smith's bill. And we're going to offer an option, if I can get this through, it'll be 25 to 33% less, but nothing's free. I'm going to show you what you're going to trade off. Anybody who tells you get something for nothing, you should distrust. And so, what I'm going to show you is only an option. If you want to have that triple coverage 100% of the time, nobody's stopping you. It's still out there. You can still buy it. But I want to have a de-insurance option for Detroiters, particularly those right now who are driving uninsured and can't afford anything. Right? So, how does it work? Well, let me tell you. In the United States today, there are 38 states that have no PIP requirement. 38 states who say, you know what, if you want to rely on your Blue Cross or your Medicare or your Medicaid, just like if you fell off a ladder, you could just keep your health insurance. You don't have to buy extra health insurance on your car premium. So 38 states don't require you to buy any double coverage. Here are the 12 states that do. Utah says you have to buy $3,000 worth. After $3,000, it goes to Medicare or Blue Cross, but the first $3,000 is paid for from your car premium. Kansas, $4,500. Pennsylvania makes you buy $5,000. Massachusetts makes you buy $8,000. Kentucky makes you buy $10,000. Hawaii makes you buy $10,000. Florida makes you buy $10,000. North Dakota says you have to buy $30,000 of health care with your car insurance premium. Minnesota says you have to buy $40,000. New Jersey says you have to buy $250,000. And guess who's number one? Michigan says you have to buy unlimited coverage. Can you imagine this? Unlimited coverage when the doctors and the hospitals are making triple the rate they're making from everybody else. Is it any wonder Michigan has the highest car insurance rates in America? There's nothing complicated about this. And so this is where we are. And so the question I'm asking is, I want to have a de-insurance proposal for Detroiters. It's more of a limited benefit, but also, I don't want Detroiters having the worst insurance in the company. I'm not going to give something that I think has no protection. So I'm going to show you a proposal that I think is a balance between good protection, but also will cut your costs. So, here's what I'd like to do. I want the minimum hospital care coverage on de-insurance to be $250,000. I actually think on the hospitals, the triple coverage that they're paid is justified. Because the Republicans in Lansing disagree with me on this. But I think paying the triple coverage to the hospital emergency rooms is right. We have 5 outstanding trauma centers in the city of Detroit. Receiving, Children's, Sinai Grace, St. John's, and Henry Ford. If you're going to have a trauma center, you have to pay to have a neurosurgeon on standby, an orthopedic surgeon on standby, a cardiologist on standby. You're spending a lot of money to have those specialists there when you need them. And if you don't pay them more on the car insurance, those doctors aren't going to be there. They're going to cut back our care. So I don't have a problem paying the hospitals for your emergency room and your hospital stay more money. I would say that a person who came in at a hospital that was over $250,000, probably 1 in 10,000 drivers. It is going to be very rare that anybody will run up a hospital bill for a car accident. But it'll be about 1 in 10,000 drivers. But we're in a city of 700,000 people. There will be some people who run up a bill over $250,000. What happens? Well, the hospital has to treat you under federal law. No hospital can deny you emergency room care. But I'll tell you what will happen is you're going to get, if the bill runs up to $300,000, you're going to get a bill in the mail for $50,000. Now, if you had an accident so severe that you ran up those kinds of services, my guess is the bill in the mail is probably the least of your concerns in your life. But hospitals have charity care policies and the like. But I think you have to make a choice. If you're one of those 1 in 10,000 people, if you want to protect against that, you can buy the same $3,400 car premium you are today. But if you think it is better to have reasonable coverage at $250,000, I want you to have a choice. And that's all I'm saying is let's have a choice. After your hospital stay, when you go and visit the rehab center or the MRI, I think there ought to be a cap of $25,000. And here's a place where I don't think the triple payment is justified. You can understand when you get pulled up in an emergency room after an accident, you want that orthopedic surgeon, those cardiologists there. But when you get released with your hip fracture and you're going to therapy a week from Tuesday, why does that scheduled therapy a week from Tuesday have to get paid triple the other people see in therapy the same day? It's not justified. If you've been out of the hospital for a month and they send you for an MRI, why should you pay that MRI triple of what everybody else is getting? I don't believe it's justified. And so I want to limit the abuse. And I believe there is abuse, not in the hospital emergency rooms, but after you get out. I think there is significant abuse in this city. And so I want to cap that at $25,000. Once you get above $25,000, then it goes to Blue Cross or Medicare or Obamacare, whatever else you have, just like every other state. It doesn't say you don't get coverage, it just means it goes back to your regular coverage where they get paid one time, not triple. So, how does D-insurance compare? This is your option. Well, the $250,000 that I'm suggesting to hospitals, that matches New Jersey. Okay, it's not like this is some crazy low program, right? And the $25,000 post-hospital, it's actually above Florida and everybody below. It is more coverage than people in 45 states. D-insurance would be one of the most extensive car insurance coverage in America. More than Ohio, more than Indiana, more than Pennsylvania, more than Illinois, all the states around us. And here's what I think we can do. I think if we can get this through, I believe we can knock $1,000 off your bill next year. Okay?
That is not true. I don't even know why.
Here's the beauty of how it's going to work. If we can get Senator Smith's bill through, the city will go out for bids to insurance companies to say, we're going to license you to put out the insurance. We'll pick at least 2 companies. We'll competitively bid it. It will be sent to City Council. City Council will vet it. It might be that State Farm and Geico are our 2 providers, but you'll know what the premium is. So you can sit down and say, do I want D-insurance or do I want the full coverage? What are the choices? And here's what we're going to be able to say. As you look a year from now with 2 choices in front of you, you can say, I can buy my full AAA insurance for $3,400, whatever you're paying today. Or you can say, I can buy my D-insurance with the limited benefits, and I'm going to tell you it's going to be in the range of 25, 30, 33% off. So that $3,400 policy is going to be about $2,000 or so. And you can make the decision, do I want the entire coverage or do I want coverage that's better than 45 states? And is coverage better than 45 states good enough for me? Because I do believe you'll be looking at $1,000 a year that you can put back into the pocket of you and your family. And so Senator Smith and I are going to work that. And I was really pleased. The NAACP has been leading this fight for 10 years. Last Thursday, we presented to the executive committee of the NAACP. They have unanimously endorsed the de-insurance proposal. The NAACP is going to be lobbying with me in Lansing to give Detroiters a choice. And so, I told you when I campaigned I was going to try and do it. If this doesn't work, I don't have another solution. We got to get this through. And what I've said to my friends in Lansing is this. Nobody should object to this. If you live in the suburbs, this doesn't hurt you. It just gives Detroiters an option. In fact, if anything, suburbanites should be better off. We'll have a lot more Detroiters with insurance, so you won't be in collisions with people who are uninsured. It doesn't take anything away from suburbanites, but it gives us an option because Detroiters are getting screwed by the system. There's no reason the Republicans should be against this.
Shut up, you're a Republican too.
To me, they're going to support us. But at least it gives me a chance. And so, as you hear about it, that's what we're going to do.